Hi there, my name is Jade. I am the CCO at EnsO Earth. For those not familiar with that title, it is Chief Communications Officer. I also have my own blog called Jaded, but we will get to that a little later. Denise, our CEO, has asked me to step in and help with this presentation as she is traveling. Signal is a little erratic where she is, but she will be available to answer questions.
Hi everyone. I am listening in and have helped Jade compile this presentation. I am really pleased that you can all meet Jade, as she will have an important role to play in the organization going forward.
In South Africa, it is predicted that water demand will outstrip supply by 2030, with 65% of the population living in cities. But the people in the know are saying that we had already allocated all our water resources way back in 2002. So why is no one talking about this? Because they were technically gagged from releasing the information. Living in a country crippled by load shedding, what will our future look like when we must ration water as well? When Legaro heard this reality, they became determined to push a new frontier and embrace the design philosophy that would ensure water security for their building tenants. Starting off as a conventional commercial office building, the design solution seemed relatively straightforward. Coming from a process and industrial design background, Denise was accustomed to doing off-grid infrastructure solutions in remote off-grid locations. Water balances and water use licenses are part of that design environment. Johnny, from Isidema, is the lead wet services consultant for the Corlett project. EnsO Earth tagged along, as we had been working together on the Living Machine project, and it seemed the next natural step to do the living building together. However, transitioning an off-grid building into a municipal region brought an entirely new set of challenges to the table. Municipal bylaws needed to be met in a way that would satisfy both council and the certification process for the Living Future Institute. True off-grid buildings are not permitted within a municipal region. All stands are required to have a potable water and wastewater connection, and a stormwater attenuation solution. As a direct result of Day Zero in Cape Town, the bylaws have been influenced, and has resulted in some grey around harvesting rainwater and upcycling wastewater. ILFI, however, have restrictions that need to be met under these circumstances. The most important was a metering system on the inflow and outflow on the property to record any incidents where the closed-loop design was infringed upon. But beyond that, it was a very standard closed-loop design, until COVID hit us, and everything changed. Legaro made a strategic decision to pivot the building's functionality away from an office building towards medical suites. This was in response to the sudden drop in demand for office space due to remote working, and the increase in demand for medical facilities. Unbeknown to any of us, what this decision did was catapult them into further uncharted water, as the ILFI had never certified a building in this category for net positive water. Of the 600 globally certified buildings at the time, only 50 had been net positive water certified. Where we started with the first commercial building in Africa seeking net positive water certification, we were now designing the first medical facility in the world to seek certification for net positive water. What fundamentally changed was the pathway for certification relating to the hot water system. In conventional office buildings, the hot water was a secondary service, dealt with as part of the cold water system, with on-demand heating via a heat pump, or similar approved. In the medical facility, the hot water supply became the primary service, and needed to be available 24/7. Furthermore, we also needed to retain the minimum chlorine levels in the hot water system for health reasons, which in the conventional office facility were extracted from the cold water system at point of use. These were the two criteria that resulted in the formulation of the new pathway and building category. The ILFI was supportive and held our hand through the process, and accredits to their commitment to find the certification process that suits the client's needs as well. The big question is always what is net zero and what is net positive. The difference is what allows us to move beyond sustainable to regenerative. Net zero occurs when the water consumed is the same as the amount of water that is recycled. And net positive is when the water recycled is greater than the water consumed. In this particular case, we are recycling 60 to 70% of the water on the site. So in summary, a net positive water strategy delivers an off-grid, ecologically balanced design that mimics a natural system while addressing water harvesting, wastewater treatment, and stormwater management, without disrupting the natural water cycle of the site. So how do we create an ecological water balance? First, we have to aim for the targets that have been set by the pre-development conditions, paying attention to runoff, infiltration, and evaporation. Only by rationalizing the water demand as fit for purpose can we create an optimal water balance for a project. We then look at the wastewater system to reuse, reclaim and recycle as much as possible in order to avoid the double-dipping cost of using potable water for toilet flushing. And lastly, we look at stormwater management, but this is integrated with rainwater harvesting for potable use. Rainwater is one of our purest forms of potable water, requiring the least amount of effort to purify, and is not allowed to be used for toilet flushing in the living building. It should be used exclusively for potable water. It is by harvesting water locally for potable water use that we are able to decentralize to an off-grid solution, which is really the solution that economic water-scarce Africa really needs. The potable water demand can be reduced by 60% to 95% of the normal consumption depending on the design philosophy, with water usage further reduced by incorporating water-efficient devices such as composting toilets, waterless urinals, and hand basin sprayers. Then we look at the wastewater system. We need to change our lens here and see wastewater as a valuable resource. By recycling the nutrient-rich wastewater, we are able to use the reclaimed water for irrigation and urban farming, as well as for non-potable uses such as toilet flushing and area washdowns. A biotreatment system is really the heartbeat of the wastewater reclamation system, as it mimics nature's purification process without the use of harmful chemicals. What is the value add from adopting net positive water strategies? It improves the resilience of development against municipal supply interruptions, which indirectly will contribute to higher productivity rates for tenants. It relieves the stress on municipal services, indirectly increasing the capacity of the municipal system while also reducing local and catchment flooding risk. We enable a positive environmental impact by restoring the natural hydrological conditions. Harvested rainwater is free from micropollutants and pharmaceutical products commonly found in municipal water harvested from surface water. And by adopting a closed-loop wastewater reclamation system, we also prevent all of the above from entering and contaminating our water resources. The design we implemented also incorporated the option for seamless municipal backup, further increasing resilience of the system. The time of being able to ignore your corporate social responsibilities are over. As we move forward out of the global impact of COVID, we are seeing the impact of ESG on companies' investment value. It is now more relative than ever before. We are currently refining the business case as more accurate costings emerge as we move forward into the construction phase. Some of the key assumptions made are that net positive water will result in higher rental and occupancy rates, especially as water scarcity becomes the new load shedding in South Africa. Accredited developments will increase in value at higher rates than the market average, currently conventional buildings performing at 7% and their green counterparts at 10%. Municipalities will still require service connection fees to be paid even where consumption is zero. Municipal supply costs will escalate at a constant rate, even though we know that water remains undervalued and that escalation will exceed inflation. While we have a notable increase in capex in the vicinity of about 3.5 million, we have a dramatic reduction on OPEX from 120,000 to 40,000 annually. So given all the above factors, we are still anticipating a return on investment in the vicinity of 12.5%. What does this mean for the African frontier going forward? How can we scale this to include a living community challenge in the near future? We are currently working with Mascom Water to further develop this business case with regards to the Claris Fusion biotreatment system. With a single dwelling installed cost in the vicinity of 200,000 versus 40,000 per individual dwelling in a cluster of 80 homes. So please contact us if you want to help push the frontier forward. Thank you for listening in and stay safe out there.